and then choose the location of the file.
Enter screen.
Yeah, it is coming up. Just give me a couple of seconds. I can push it onto the stage. You have shared the entire screen, I guess. Yeah. Now it is the presentation. Okay. So,
Okay, now you
yeah.
see the presentation.
Yes.
Okay, thank
We
you
can
very
start.
much. Yeah, assalamu alaikum. Uh, Let me just give you another small introduction. I joined when I qualified as a management accountant in 2000. Year 2000, I joined Novartis as a business controller, and from that time I came to know about business balance scorecard. And after that, many years later, in 2009, I joined another company called Rahim Afros in Bangladesh, and they hired that time Paradigm to develop their group strategy. And from that onward, actually, I learned about the balance scorecard and strategy maps and other things. And after that, I'm practicing when I join any company, I'm practicing as a consultant. In two occasions, I joined as a consultant initially. Then, due to the lack of leadership in the organization, they basically give me the opportunity to lead the organization. And from that perspective, I actually driven those strategy execution from inside, not as a consultant. And if my concept is like that, a consultant is like a doctor kind of person, and some organizations they don't need only the doctor, they need also the nurses. So when I work within the company, I help the organization basically just like a nurse. I execute those prescriptions and help people develop and grow. So from that perspective, I have chosen the topics, uh, which is the next slide. My today's topic is leadership development for strategy execution. What I will try to bring the success and failure experiences all together, but I will not mention the name of the organization for the sake of kind of confidentiality. Uh, so what I will try to do, uh, I have built a storyline, and if needed, I will add more information or more thing. Those are not put in my slides. So let's start with the thing. Why leadership? Because this is one of my favorite quote, which is John Maxwell. Everything rise and fall on leadership. Normally, what happens in organization when strategy executions fails, that they tend to blame the consultant. And many organizations they don't accept the challenge of leadership, and they don't accept the execution is an inside job. Basically, execution is not an outside job, it's an inside job. So that's why it is very important for the leaders in the organization to take the responsibility of execution. And if you ask me why there are cases of failure of strategy execution in different companies, my observation is that it is due to failure of the leadership. So it's not about the top leadership. I am saying the culture of leadership. So from that onward, why I have chosen the topic, the reason is we have to future proof or failure proof the strategy execution. And to do that, what we need to do, we embed a culture of leadership in the organization. And the next point.
Munshi Saab, can you just click a button to hide it? The StreamYard sharing your screen, stop sharing, Just click on hide so that it will not be visible.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
No, the pop-up. Okay, the pop-up you are seeing like
Okay.
stop sharing.
This
Yeah.
one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good. So as I'm building a story, I'm taking from a different perspective. Let you tell me The balanced scorecard, in implementing a balanced scorecard, sometimes we cannot explain the strategy to the audience. So what I do, I use some other concepts. So let me tell you one thing. I will be referring different books. And if you ask me in one word, what is leadership? I believe this is readership. If we read, that helps us to build, to help us to grow as a leader. That's why I will refer some books. One of my favorite book, along with the core books, this is the Playing to Win by A.G. Lafley and Roger Martin. So as per Roger Martin and A.G. Lafley, strategy is a coordinated and integrated set of 5 choices: a winning aspiration, where to play, how to win, and core capabilities and management systems. These 5 choices actually that gives us an overview of strategy in a comprehensive manner. For execution, a balanced scorecard is a fantastic tool. But to develop the strategy, I found that this concept is very effective. And I during my strategy workshop, I use this concept because this winning aspiration is a kind of vision. We have to set a vision to win in the market. And the core strategy, basically these two: where to play, selecting where to play and how to win. Then from the balanced scorecard perspective, if we see the learning and growth perspective, you see core capabilities and management systems are learning and growth perspective. So from that point of view, I prefer this definition. I recommend all of the audience to read this book. It's a fantastic book, and to explain strategy is very easy. And that's why I this is my this is the strategy definition, you can say. uh, is it clear to everyone? Can you see it now?
Yeah. It's very clear.
Okay.
Hmm.
Then, from that perspective, let me, whenever we go to any organization and speak to any audiences, they always come up with one quotation from Peter Drucker. They say the culture is strategy for breakfast. That means if our culture is not right, then nothing, no benefits we will get from strategy. And normally there are people, they try to negate the effect of strategy, or the effect of strategy we can make in the society, in the organization. They try to negate with this code. So that's why from this code, actually, I came up with the idea. So what to do to create a strategy in a culture, or to change the culture of the organization? Then it is building a culture of leadership. That's why you said there is another code. It is saying that culture is the shadow of the leader. So if the leader is good and the leadership practices are good in the organization, then strategy will not fail. It is a it will work as insurance of the organization against strategic planning or strategy development. That's why leadership is so important. From balanced scorecard perspective, if we uh, want to be successful in strategy execution, it is saying that breakthrough result will come from strategy map, balanced scorecard, and strategy focused organization. And only a strategy focused organization can be built through aligning the leadership in different levels. So that's why strategy, to execute the strategy, leadership is so important. then then I go to the next point, the storyline. You see, this is from me, it is the core, this is the core syllabus for strategy execution or strategy mapping. That's balanced scorecard and strategy maps. Probably you all know about this, uh, these two books. So the two things are very important. Number one is translating strategy into action. Second one is making strategy everyone's business. This is the key. If you really want to make strategy everyone's business, you will be able to do it only by developing, growing leadership within the organizations. From a consulting perspective, it is very difficult for a consultant to impact the culture and to impact every layer of the organization. That's why leadership development must be taken seriously. And one thing is very important from the successful organization. I work for multinationals in Bangladesh. I work for three multinationals in Bangladesh. What I found, they they build a culture of leadership within the organization, so they can make changes happen efficiently, and they can make transformations happen efficiently because of the leadership and also the strategy. They bring down those global strategy into the end market level, and they are very successful doing that. So leadership is very important for them. So from that perspective, I would say, so building leadership or developing leadership is so important. So here I recommend another and two books again. So in the next phase, I would recommend another book, The Four Disciplines of Execution by Franklin and Covey. You see, let me take you through these four disciplines. Why I am bringing in disciplines? Because the core element of a culture is discipline in the organization. So if we really do want to execute things well, so we have to follow these four disciplines. Number one discipline is focus on widely important goals. When we have those strategic themes, we have those uh, departmental goals, the organizational goals, and if we can focus on key goals, the widely important ones, that help us to execute things very well. Let me tell you one thing again. One of the failure reason for failure in the strategy execution is the serial entrepreneurship mindset. Somebody start a thing, organization start a thing, before finishing what they started, they start another one. And this is called kind of entrepreneurship mindset. That's actually uh, distract people from the important goals. The second element, second discipline is in terms of the execution, act on lead measures. You see, the sales is a lag measure. Sales doesn't come, you cannot do selling without marketing. So the marketing is a kind of branding, is a kind of lead measures. Just I'm giving one example, and sales is a kind of lag measures. So from the discipline of execution, the focus must be on the lead measures where you have control. From the measures, we don't have any control. That's why we must focus on the lead measures. The number three, to keep a compelling scorecards. It is aligned with the balanced scorecard model. So if we have a scorecard, if we have a compelling scorecard, and if we can build it through uh, balanced scorecard, and that will help us to execute well. Number four discipline is create an accountability, and this is the most challenging part in terms of when I share this thing with any companies in Bangladesh, and you see the people don't take they want to don't take accountability on them, and a new culture basically developed in some part of our country, that people are very much dependent on consultant, and uh, they are not hiring their brain. They try to find out uh, people to delegate those accountability, and this accountability must be done from within, from the organization. You cannot hold people outsider accountable for the most important things you want to achieve. And finally, if we have these four discipline, that actually leads to successful strategy execution. And when I say discipline of execution, it leads to my next point. And again, I recommend this book again for discipline of execution. For the strategy execution is a fantastic book. I hope you can learn a lot of things from reading the detail from that book. I will not cover that detail because of the time limit. What I will do is let me go to the second point. The discipline demands leadership. Discipline demands leadership. And if you can watch, if you can enter a company, you can understand the discipline very well, whether the company is disciplined or not. And that is the result coming from the development of leadership. One experience I must share, one discipline I always check whenever I enter a new company. I try to get uh, I get to know and look into their management meeting minutes. And if I look into 10, 12 management meeting minutes, that gives me an idea of the discipline or leadership of the organization. Because in many organizations, you can find that they are not focusing on the core things. In the minutes, you will see they are focusing on different things, and their most important things for the company, those are not in the minutes, those are not in their action plan, and that's why the execution fails. And another discipline is the how people. It's not about how people coming normally in terms of discipline. We understand coming at 9 o'clock and leaving at 5 o'clock. This is not actually discipline. Discipline means discipline of thoughts, discipline of uh, decisions, discipline of ideas, discipline of uh, following through, following through what we have planned. So from that perspective, leadership is required. And I have seen different, especially in multinational, for leadership development, they adopted a kind of leadership that is called leadership pipeline. I let me share with one experience. I have seen in organizations people are working for a long time, maybe 10, 15 years, and they're doing the same thing for year on year. They're doing the same thing. That is a big problem. And if you see this in any organization, uh, be assured it will be very difficult to change their culture. It will be very difficult to take them on board. So what is required there in every layer? For example, in an organization, if someone starts as an executive, then one day he becomes senior executive, he moved to the assistant manager, deputy manager, manager, senior manager, up to CEO level. And very unfortunately, I have seen people did something good, very good in their executive or managerial level. Even they are uplifted to the next level or senior level. They are doing the old things. Still they're doing the old things. That is a problem. So the leadership pipeline concept basically shares that they grows people from bottom to top. So what must happen in an organization, in every layer, the goal must change. What we do as a manager, we must not do as a senior manager or a general manager. So goals must change, the skills must change, and values must change, and application must change. This concept is basically coming from a great leadership book I always recommend, that is called Leadership Pipeline. And probably you have heard this. I have seen many multinational organizations, they have adopted a concept of leadership pipeline uh, in their performance management system, in their leadership management system, in their talent development system. So this is very important. I'm referring. So you see a book, Leadership Pipeline, by Stephen Daughter, Ramcharan, and Noel Tishi. So this is a
Yeah.
fantastic book I have observed from my experience. You see, the leadership pipeline model provides a framework upon which the organization can be built while reconfiguring old ones. At each passage, a person has very specific values, compulsory skills, and necessary time applications. Here you see from manage self to enterprise manager, there are 5, 6 turnarounds of the career level. From the first turnaround is called manage self, then manage others, means someone is become the manager, then manage managers, then functional manager, then business manager, then group manager, then enterprise manager. From my experience, what I have seen, the people are leading a business they are not actually coming through the pipeline, and the people who experience those different stages of the leadership pipeline, they are delivering much better result compared to other people who are learning leadership on an ad hoc basis. So the companies, what they come up with the solutions, they inculcate this process of leadership pipeline in organization, and they develop their own leaders for the long run. And what the other companies do, what the not so good companies do, they basically, whenever they need a leader, they bring people from outside, and their focus is not on the homegrown leaders. And in any organization, if you do not grow your own leaders, it is very difficult to sustain in the long term in the market. So this is very, that's why it is very much recommended to build this leadership culture uh, along with the strategic plan or strategic goal, all along with the vision. It is not a one-day job. Uh, Basically, what we normally see, people are coming to the consultants when they have a big problem. What I my recommendation is, when you are doing good, then you must try to be great. When you are in the ICU, the business is suffering. It is very difficult to have a long-term vision and long-term plan. A long-term vision is not for the organizations living in the passing their time in the ICU. They must adopt this strategy execution plan or strategic planning or strategy when they're doing good, and this will be an insurance against the future failure, and this will be a certificate, this will be an assurance for unprecedented growth. And that's why this leadership is so important. And what I will try to do, I will try to bring some aspects of leadership from my experience. And sorry, sorry. So from that slide, what I'll try to do, let me complete the story first, then I will share some aspect of the leadership. So the storyline, if you build this leadership pipeline in the organization, and that will help the execution, that will make the organization execution masters. They will be the execution masters, and execution will be part of their culture. And this is what we require to sustain in the market, and to really win in the market, and uh, uh, to put our footprint as a leader, as an organization. So let me go to the next one. You see, this is the core process. We call it execution premium model or XPP model, from in terms of the execution strategy execution. It is very known to us because we have already heard about the balance scorecard model and execution thing. The XPP model says, you see, let me present you from a different perspective. First, the first step is developing the strategy, and we all know about it. I will not go into detail. Second step, it is to translate the strategy. There is basically the role of leadership comes significantly. The consultant can help the organization to translate this strategy. One thing I always tell in my workshops, the most difficult translation is not language translation. The most difficult translation is translating your vision, your strategy into execution. So that is the second level of XPP model. And then we need to align the organization. And we have already heard last from during these 2 days how to align our organization. It is also part of the discussion, so I will not repeat that. Again, number four is plan operations and is a part of the balance scorecard development and final execution. You see the process automation or monitoring initiative, and then it is monitor, learn, test, and adapt. So you see, I put leadership in the upper corner of the slide, but I want to say is leadership. Leadership is basically it is in the center of the XPB. It is the leader's job to do that. It's not the strategy execution in the center of the organization. It is leadership is the center of the organization. It is the role of the leadership to clarify strategy. It is the role of the leadership to execute the strategy. So the the more uh, the more efficiently we can build this leadership culture in our organization, that will help, that will ensure the leadership execution, the strategy execution. So if from that perspective you ask me what is leadership, I will say leadership is to get a strategy, to develop a strategy, to influence a strategy. What is leadership? Leadership is translating the strategy. What is leadership? The leadership is aligning the organization, then planning operation, then the process simplification, the execution, and ultimately leadership is monitoring. Leadership is testing. Leadership is adaptation. The core in the heart of the execution is leadership. This is conceptually, this is my presentation slide, and I will add two more things with this. So until this, is it okay?
Yeah, it's perfect, sir. It's perfect. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to my next point. It is a thank you. It's a first thank you because you have heard until now. So let me
Mhm.
share one thing which is kind of my innovation, and I thought about sharing this because the main reason is why we should have a strategy, why we should have a balance scorecard or strategy execution, why we should have those things in the organization. If you ask any organization, if you go to an organization, if you say I'm a strategy consultant, the first thing they ask why we should have a strategy. We have already strategy. So that from that point of view, I normally I tell them, can you show me your strategy? Many organizations they say they reply me with that idea. No, no, it is we all know our strategy, but we cannot show you. Then I say I tell them, okay, I can show you a strategy. That's it. That is balanced scorecard. I show them a strategy map and I explain the strategy map to them, and I tell them this is strategy which you can see from another perspective. What I do normally, if because I'm also a finance professional, I was a finance professional. I'm also a finance professional right now, no problem. Because when I ask any new project comes, what we do a cost benefit analysis, whether we should invest, whether we do or not. We see the IRR, we see the NPV. But but problem is when a new business idea comes, who is validating the business idea with the company strategy? You see where to play and how to win. And if you decided to play within the country, so if somebody come with a small idea of exporting a product outside, so that time you must raise a flag because this is not your core competency. Uh, there are many ideas, a lot of ideas come every day in a business, and the most important part, most of the time management time sometimes we spend on ideas that basically not aligned with our core competency. And yes, there you must develop, we can develop new core competencies, but without optimizing, without maximizing the benefit to our existing core competencies, why should we move for another developing a new core competency that, that we are not good at? So that's why someone, the chief strategy officer, it is his role to validate those ideas with the strategy map, whether it aligns with their uh, portfolios, the strategic portfolios, or not. So that's why I developed this business transformation canvas, because what I do when I say I'm a strategy consultant, they don't understand. But that's why I introduce myself as a transformation consultant. I help organization to transform for the future, to make the company future ready. So that's why I developed this business transformation canvas. Let me share with you this canvas. It is it start from present reality. We do a reality check, then we plan for a strategic future. So we have those strategic future. You say we are vision, our strategic themes, everything we have. Then what we need? We need a strategic intent. This strategic intent, it comes from our mission, vision, and this, if the strategic intent is there, then the point is winning aspiration is, it is our vision in the balanced scorecard model, or is the strategy map model. Then this is the important part, whether we have the core competencies to execute those strategies. So it must be there. If we don't have those core competencies, we can use our core competencies and we can build some. But it is a long process. If we have a 5 years process, we can definitely develop some core competencies. And winning aspirations and core competencies must be tested with one thing, that is whether we are able to innovate. We are able to innovate new products, or we are able to do the customer innovation. That means whether we are able to do the product innovation, customer innovation, and in from this perspective, this is very important to have the ability to customer innovation. Whether we are able to enter in a new market, or whether we are uh, bringing in new customers in our business portfolio. Then to do this strategy execution or transformation, we need people and we need culture. And from this people and culture, it comes with the leadership, and also the execution excellence. If you don't have good people and good culture, you cannot have execution excellence. And how you will know that you have good people and good culture, and if you have execution excellence, this goes through this test called trust. If you can measure trust in the organization, then you can understand whether you have the right people, in the organization, or you don't have enough right people, or you have some wrong people in the organization. So basically, this is the transformation canvas I developed to help organization to transform their organization. If you see, the most important part in any organization is building trust. So this is, you can, I invite all of you, because I shared this idea in my YouTube channels, but I share this with some audiences. I have a plan to come up with some write-ups with this, or some small books in future.
I
So
think yes. I think you need to write it each, because you have a good thought process for business transformation canvas. Okay, so that your thought process, either you write it as a form of an article or as a form of a book. Okay, so I think the best way is to write up an article first, then
yeah,
you expand it with case studies. So that will be a
right.
fantastic one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your valuable input.
Yeah, please proceed, sir.
Oh yeah. Then this is, I'm sharing this because you can also use, or what I say, you can use in two perspectives. Number one, you can have a transformation roadmap, and
Mhm.
also you can test whether your strategy execution plan missing anything or not. You can see If one element is missing, that there will be a problem. If organization lacks trust, I would say that I have seen organization lacks trust. Even department to department, they don't trust each other, and they work on a very uh, isolated way. And that is a big problem. And uh, for this trust building, I always recommend again uh, the Speed of Trust, the book called Speed of Trust by probably Covey, Sean Covey, not Amar Covey or someone. So you can read that book also, and that will help you to build trust in the organization. So this is the business transformation canvas. So I will show another part, because you all have seen strategy map. So I have developed another concept. Uh, strategy map will be there, but to extend from that strategy map, I have developed another one-page strategy master kind of thing. Or let me show you. You can see this. It is just let me show you. The discipline, innovation, excellence is a strategy for every person in the organization. So for the people of the organization, they have three strategy. I would say you can say it values, whatever it is, but there are strategies for every individual in the organization. Uh, if you want to achieve this 5 years goal, or if you want to achieve something, achieve a dream from the perspective of organization, everyone in the organization must seek to these three elements. One is they must be disciplined in their thoughts, in their execution, in their operation, in every activities. They try to be innovative wherever possible, and they try to look for excellence. This is the values, or you can say this is individual strategy. Why I'm coming with this individual strategy? Let me just go back to again 2001 when I joined Novartis, and I came to know about the strategy and strategy map, balance scorecard. So I thought, what should be my own personal strategy? That time I set a personal strategy for me, that I want to be multifunctional. I will not be a person master only in finance. So that from that strategy, I get into marketing, I get into supply chain, HR, and different functions. My strategy as a strategy consultant, that I am a multifunctional. So for the employees of the organization, they all must have this strategy. They must aim for discipline, innovation, and excellence. Then let me show you from the bottom. Basically, I'm sharing from the bottom. You see there is a high performance. It is part of that. It is the HR strategy. The high trust culture. It is the internal control strategy. You see, SCM is a competitive advantage. The supply chain strategy. Sorry, it is not coming serial. Sorry. Then the organization vision is to become 1 billion company, authentic and admired company by 2024, because I built that this thing on in 2019. So this is 5 years. They wanted to be the number 1 billion authentic and admired company by 2024. Then you see this is the from the main balance scorecard strategic map. You see the quality. Theme number one is the quality product, then market dominance, then operational excellence, growth, innovation, and customer delight. So these five on the top of the page, you see this is our core strategy in terms of, and in the bottom we can see the functional strategy. So this one page basically gives a holistic idea of the organization. And uh, this you can also use this whenever because you will have a different strategy map for HR. The vision of HR to become a high performance organization. You can the internal control function, they can drive for a aim for a high trust culture and business through uh, finance excellence. This is the goal for the finance team, and this is the goal for the supply chain team. You see, this is a complete picture. You have your vision, you have your strategic themes, and you have your functional thing, and also you have values inside. So this is a map I just shared, and I hope this will add value whatever we learned during the last 2 days. So again, this is second thank you. The second thank you. And let me go to the next slide. So very roughly, I will share 5 reasons for business or strategic transformation failure. Number one, number one, failure to set a standard of business. Again, failure to set a standard of business. Someone asking during the session, why should I have a target 3 times or 4 times or 5 times? What based on what will set the target? So my point is, the first you set the business standard, and then you come up with the analysis, you come up with the data, the target. So you must set a standard of business. Especially it includes the business standard, it includes the performance standard, it includes people standard. What kind of people, what will be the performance standard, what level you want your people to operate, and what kind of people intakes from universities or other institutions you will hire, whether you will hire the top person or not. So we fail in those areas, and then we fail to develop a service standard. So this failure actually leads to strategic transformation failure. But my second point is failure to set a strategy. Why I'm coming up with this? Because sometimes we don't understand what a strategy really is. That's why balance scorecard or strategy map give us a different perspective. So why? And our strategy must include few elements. Number one, the seasonal variations. I see normally the entrepreneurs, they get frustrated during the season, the off season. So our strategy must include this variation, and it must address the competition. It must address the changes it will require in future, and it must have a strategy how we will deal with poor performance, and how we will do manage the business risk. So from those, if we include those perspectives in our strategy, that will protect us with the failure from for the strategic transformation thing. And the next one is the third reason for failure to execution or transformation is leadership development. Leader development. If we fail to develop leader, if we fail to grow leaders in the organization, that leads to failure in strategic transformation. And number four, empowerment. Sometimes we we plan a strategy, and we hire leaders, but we don't give them enough authority to execute. That's why empowerment is the fourth element. And finally, as I said before, the serial entrepreneur phenomenon. The serial entrepreneur phenomenon, going business to business without basically achieving excellence in one business, we are going to another business. That is a kind of disease I have seen in especially in our country, and in different areas. And it is our responsibility to make the entrepreneurs to understand this is not a good thing. And I've seen actually very sad to say, the big organizations in Bangladesh, they are not stepping up because of this thing, because the serial entrepreneur mindset. uh, I say in a different way, from the leadership perspective, somebody did not muster to run a business. He become a group head. He could not run a single business, but he then come up with a multiple businesses, and he wanted to run 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 businesses. And this is a big problem, and we need to make those leaders understand this moving from leading a business to a group of business is different. Moving from a function to leading business is different. It requires skills. It requires a different values, and it requires a different time application. And it is that's why if we cannot make them understand the impact of those things for strategy execution, we will not be able to deliver the expected results the entrepreneurs, the business owners basically expect from us. So this was my probably sorry, this is my last slide. The last before ending, I want to share another thing. Probably I share this thing is LinkedIn. I try to write something in LinkedIn. So what are the leadership approaches? How we can be leader? I have listed 10. I just quickly share. We can build leadership by developing competency and character. Second, we can build leadership by developing or inculcate good habits. We can build leadership by leadership DNA. I mean the functional thing. DNA means you have to be a leader. You have to understand strategy, finance, HR, marketing, supply chain. Uh, this is called leadership DNA. And number four, leadership is a journey pipeline that I shared today as my core topics. Leadership pipeline is a journey. You start from bottom, and by learning new skills, habits, you grow up. And finally, number five is leadership process. Leadership is a process. So in the process, you take new tasks, new projects, and you engage executing those small projects. And by delivering those projects, you become a leader one day. So the more exposure you can give your young leaders, that young leaders, if they can get exposed to new projects, they will become one day a great leader. That is part of the process. And situational leadership, I will not elaborate because this is a world class. This is a world class concept. Situational leadership, and you can have a course on it, or you can read and learn. This is a very simple idea. Different folks, different strokes. This is a very simple idea. If you can apply, you can maximize your productivity and leadership skill. Then, not least number least, the level 5 leadership. If we can, one of the highly recommended book from my side is Good to Great by Jim Collins. In Good to Great, Jim Collins explains kind of leadership which is level 5 leadership. So this is also another perspective. I recommend people to read this book. Excellent, timeless book, I would say. Then number 9 is leadership by strategy execution. That is our core subject. And finally, leadership excellence. One thing I must say for leadership excellence, it is the core sense in terms of leadership excellence. It calls cross training. Cross training. If you are a finance people, train yourself in marketing. If you are a HR people, train yourself in finance. So the more discipline, if you can cross train yourself with other disciplines, this will help you to become a great business leader one day, inshallah. So that's my session, and this is the third thank you. And I'd love to hear from the audience if you have any questions or any discussion. I'd love to share
Yeah.
with you.
So fantastic session, Sarji. Thank you very much. I really like the concept of trust. So I think you mentioned it upfront. I think people are not talking about it directly. Maybe they talk about indirectly by saying that resistance. Maybe they're talking about culture, change management. Actually, it's a direct term is a trust. Okay, so you hit the nail. Okay, so each department in organization or each business unit, they don't trust other people. So that creates a problem. And your business transformation canvas, that is something which very interesting. Okay, so which you covered it, majority part of the, and you made it simple also to make the business people understand very easily instead of making too many things. So you just summarized into in a sequence of interconnected things. So that is fantastic. And I think that's a great thing. So how is the strategy management process is going on in the in Bangladesh? You said that they're not very
Very few. Very
mhm,
few. One of the professor in Bangladesh, I would say he is taking it to a different level because he is teaching strategy in Institute of Business Administration. I must say his name, Saif Numan Khan. He is taking this strategy management in different level. Also, there are few other consultants. They are doing good. One of is his name is Mustafa. He actually he's a certified balance scorecard or KPI certified person in Bangladesh. And otherwise, you see the MNCs, they go for the multinational consultants, a different perspective. And for local companies, it is not that prominent yet. And people are looking for us. Actually, it is very untapped market in terms of promotion. We could not make it popular in our country, and that's why it is. We are trying to do it, but from the front, there are two-person in Bangladesh doing it. But it's very difficult to uh, convince those first generation or second generation entrepreneurs in Bangladesh.
that's because they want to have like a complete control. They don't want to disclose everything. So
Yeah,
they want to think, and everybody else wants to work. So
the
yeah, that is
one of the biggest challenge they ask me, they are very afraid of confidentiality, and they want to, though they don't want to let their department people know about their strategy. And you see, this is kind of a finance driven market. Finance driven market, they're very conservative. They're very what I say, they're maintaining a secrecy. When I ask, do you have a strategy? There's, it is in our chairman's head. It is very secret. We cannot share this.
yeah. If you don't communicate, it's very hard for you to scale up, to plan a succession planning. You cannot develop leadership if you don't communicate strategies. It's very difficult to build the hierarchies. And because it's one person cannot do all the things, so you need to have the leadership team who take responsibility, as you said, discipline. Okay, leadership
Right.
is a discipline. I really liked it. So you need to have that discipline to execute things. That's a great one. And you also referred some very critical books like Crude to Great. Okay, and of course you talk about Kaplan and Norton books. So that's fantastic, sir. So any final thoughts from your side? Mhm.
So thank you. Sorry,
Any final thoughts? So what is the key
okay, just
takeaways or
if you
advice?
ask me, I want to share one additional point. So as you see, culture is the main thing. So how we can impact the culture? We can impact culture by I just listed on my note the 7 things. Number one, by having and sharing the mission of the organization and vision of the organization. Number one is mission. Number two, vision. Number three is values and mindsets. It is very important to impact culture by developing values and mindsets. Number four, discipline, as I mentioned before. And number five, performance and competency. And number six is it is called, sorry, it is called reward and incentives. That point we have covered today. Reward and incentives. And number seven is festivals and celebrations. Or
Mhm.
we must have a culture of celebrating small wins.
Mhm.
That helps. If you start celebrating small wins, that will certainly impact your culture. So that is from my side, the additional thoughts on today. And if any questions there, I definitely I will try to answer.
Fantastic, sir. I think that's a fantastic topic you raised. Celebrations. I think it's almost always underestimated by many companies. I think even everybody wants to celebrate, but they don't celebrate. That's a problem. So that's where your team building skills, communication, change, culture, everything is getting affected. That's fantastic point, sir. Okay, so I think we have a very fantastic session today. Okay, so thank you very much for joining, and the session is recorded. With your permission, our organizers will reach you to share your presentation again, what you want to share with the team, and what is the video. So before sharing, they will take your consent. Okay, so after that,
Thank you.
Because
I have the record.
Yeah, they will put it.
My special thank you for you, because you connected me with this platform, and it is really my pleasure to be a speaker from Bangladesh. Probably in this two occasion, probably from Bangladesh, only me shared anything.
You're the only one. Yeah. So thank you for joining, and I'm very happy that you presented a very nice one. Okay, so look forward for more collaborations, inshallah.
Sure.
So I wish you good luck, sir. Thank you very much, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Salam.